On this episode of 585 Garage, we rescue yet another vehicle that we're not going to work on in the foreseeable future. But it's really good, and more on that in a little while. But for right now, we have Matt Carter with me one more time, and of course myself. We have with us the car hauler. You can see it there in the background. And we have one of the hoopties. So we're going to go rescue another vehicle.
Ever since I was a little kid, there was this picture of this little Vega sitting in my dad's shop, and I always wondered where it was and what had become of it. So over the years, he told me bits and pieces of the overall story, and so I posted online one day, seeing if I could find the car, and lo and behold, I was able to find a previous owner of it. One thing led to another, and we ended up finding the thing in a barn not far from where we were living. So we went and took a look at it, and well, here's the story of Mission Impossible. Originally, this car was rescued out of a junkyard by my father in the late 70s. He built a 327 and a turbo 350 for it, put in a Mopar 8 3/4 rear end, and took to the streets and raised some hell, thus giving it the name Mission Impossible. Over time, the car had changed hands many times and was quite hard to get a hold of. Once we saw it sitting in the barn, we knew that there was a couple key points that we needed to look for. Number one was the roll bar that was installed in the car, as well as some frame ties that were installed underneath. So as we saw the car sitting there in the barn, wasting away to nothing, we knew that it needed to be rescued again. We knew it wouldn't be easy, and we knew it would take a long time to make it into what it needed to be. But it was worth undertaking the project and turning it into a badass street car once again. And here's the beginning of that project.
So, Joe, you're a little crooked. I think you should move it over a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, move it over. There we go. Yeah, perfect. Nice.
It's not going to go anywhere, I got it. No, I'm holding it.
Now you're too far.
Am I?
No, pull it back. Pull it back. Yep.
All right, just kicking around. Let's tie it down.
He's going to get a workout. There you go.
Key man Joe.
That should be good right there.
That's how to center a car on a trailer right there.
Yeah, that's it. That looks good, man. Dude. Here giving a little bit of an update. We got Mission Impossible on the trailer. We're almost about to be home. We're in front of a store up here. Just used the light for a couple minutes. We got it back to the house. Mission Impossible is finally home. So the story behind the car is my dad built it in 1979. He rescued it out of a junkyard. At the time he paid $250 for it and built it into this bitchin' race car. And he traded it for a 69 Camaro somewhere along the line, and the car was lost to history until just a couple years ago. I started looking into it, and one thing led to another, and a guy knew a guy who knew a guy, and eventually we ended up circling the car and finding it in a barn where it had sat for the last 15 years. So we got it on the trailer. It's coming home, and it's going to get rebuilt into, once again, a bitchin' street car.
When the Vega came home, it sat outside for a little bit, and that didn't really rub us the right way. So we ended up pulling my dad's dream car out of the garage, putting it under a cover in the driveway, putting the Vega in the garage, and we started tearing into it.
Hey, so when we caught you last time, we were putting this thing outside, and it's been a little while since we've done that, but here's the reason why we did that. I posted on my Instagram and said there's big things coming, and everybody liked it because they could tell that it was a Corvette underneath the cover, but that's not what we did. We've got the Vega in the garage now, and you can see my dad back there just kind of poking around the workbench. Oh, there he is. Hi, Nate. So what we're doing today is we're actually going to get the front clip off. We're going to take a look at the underneath, make sure everything's as solid as we hope it is. So we got the whole front end all disassembled here. And the only thing that we're concerned about is this little spot right behind the front tire on the frame. So what we're going to do is we're going to vacuum out the little bit of a hole that's in there. Then we're going to cut away the excess, what we think is still rotted, so that way we have a grasp on how big of a patch we need to make.